Hey folks, and welcome to Drinking Alone with Friends, a podcast where three friends drink alone together. My name's Chris.
Booyah, it's Tud.
And I'm Obert.
And guys, I have an admission for you.
Oh, okay. Welcome, my son. Please sit over here. Tell me what you need to confess.
For my entire life, I figured that I was a perfect individual. I never messed anything up, never did anything wrong.
That sounds like pretty normal, healthy behavior.
But then you were mistaken.
Well, I was mistaken because last week on the episode when I introduced my stealth mode beer, I said it was a collaboration between Bottle Logic and Campy Creatures Brewing. And upon further research done by myself, I found out that Campy Creatures was actually a board game.
Oh.
Huh.
So it's a collaboration between a board game and a brewery.
Right, yes. It's like it seems to be a werewolf-style game where everybody plays like different zombies and ghouls and invisible men and stuff like that. So,
that sounds fun.
Yeah,
I like how they have like a beer tie-in though.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool, and it made a lot more sense after I went to tag Campy Creatures on Instagram, and I was like, wait a minute, they're not showing up. What the hell? And then like I looked it up, and I was like, oh, because it's a
board game. But that's kind of cool. It makes me think of like I wish I could play of some games with specially made beers that tie in right to the game.
Yeah, right. That would be pretty cool. And I wonder if this is like a set. Like is Bottle Logic going to do like a something or other with Zombie Man or whatever?
Would you make it part of the rule that you had to only drink those Bottle Logic beers in order to play the game?
I would, yeah. Well, I'm thinking if I could do like a version of Monopoly where every property has its own beer. And then, of course, I like to turn every game into a drinking game. So you would have like the more expensive beers, the better beers as you go around the board. And then, you go bankrupt when you finish the beer.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was going to say, do you have to chug a beer every time you land on the square?
No, I think it's like when you buy the property, it's like you crack it open. And then, I don't know. Every time somebody lands on it, you got to drink some.
All right, here it is.
Vice versa.
I think I got it. Everybody's got a drinking cup, right? And you go around and you buy these properties. And then when they land on a property you already own, you get to pour some of whatever beer that is into their drinking cup. And then it mixes all these nasty beers together.
Oh, boy. That sounds rough.
Because like you'll get like Natty Light when you buy, what is it, Mediterranean Avenue?
The crappy ones, the purple ones.
The purple ones. And then you get really expensive beer when you get to Boardwalk, and they'll be mixed together. So you're... Okay, this worked out in my head. It doesn't...
Listen, I like the idea.
Yeah, we can work on this. I want to know what jail is, and I want to know what you get when you pass go. These are the things you got to iron out, but maybe...
Jail is you have to chug a steel reserve.
That sounds really brutal.
That is jail.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to jail. Now, I guess in our Drunkopoly, is there still money involved, or is it all beer commerce?
I think if we started with money, it would quickly go downhill where we would stop using the money after a couple rounds.
Well, I mean, you have to have the money to buy the properties. But other than that, then you don't make any money. Oh, this is tough.
This is a tough one.
It's almost like somebody created a drinking game, but not with Monopoly, but with another really popular franchise. That's almost like the most perfect drinking game ever.
Parcheesi?
Yeah. Oh, don't remind me. It was a rough night.
No, I'd love to say maybe a little bit bigger of a franchise than Parcheesi, perhaps with a little bit of monsters that fit in your pocket.
Oh.
Gotta chug them all.
Gotta chug them all, yes.
That is a hard drinking board game to beat. I will admit that.
Yeah, that one is like I don't think you can do better than that.
No.
It is a pretty perfect drinking board game, especially for anybody who's played Pokemon.
Well, until we try Campy Creatures, though, we can't be sure.
True.
Or
Drunkopoly.
or Drunkopoly.
Drunkopoly, there you go.
We gotta work more on this Drunkopoly game. It might become the official board game of Drinking Alone with Friends.
Yeah. The only problem, though, is that you can't play Drunkopoly alone with friends. You have to play it together with friends. So
very true.
Well, I mean, we always figured that at some point in time, friends do get together and drink.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
So we have to be prepped for that.
That is true. We're broadening our horizons. We're no longer drinking alone. We're not just for people who drink alone. We're for people who drink together too. So,
opening the franchise wide open.
the two demographics.
If we're smart about this, we monopolize this idea.
Drunkopolize.
And sell it and monetize it.
Well, we have to figure out the game first.
I think we got a good foundation. We just got to get together and do some test cases.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But
we can all meet at my house.
I see what you did there, Ted. I'll let you know when next time I'm in the neighborhood.
Yeah, right. Next time I'm just driving around Connecticut. But I think in order to stimulate our Drunkopoly planning minds, I think we have to get into that state of close to drunkenness, even though, whatever, one beer, not too bad. So, anyways,
it's a start,
long story short, what are you guys drinking tonight?
So, I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
So I am drinking, first of all, I want everybody to notice my cool glass.
I'm very jealous of that stein you got there. Is that a ceramic mug?
This is a pewter mug.
Nice.
So I broke my little house glass over the weekend while trying to clean it. So I had
that house is very hard on glasses.
It is. It's almost like it's cursed against glasses. So I drove to Chester, Connecticut yesterday to replace this glass.
That's dedication.
It is. It's one of my favorite glasses. So I was very sad when I broke it. So I had to venture out and get a new one.
And you can't let the house win, right?
Right. Screw the house. I'm winning this, no matter how much it costs me. I'll probably go into bankruptcy because of beer glasses. So we stumbled into a Oktoberfest at Little House Brewing Company without really knowing. As we showed up, they were having their Oktoberfest, and they were selling these mugs where if you spent the money to buy the mug, which the mug was $15, you got a free beer with it, and you got to keep the mug.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And I see, so it's a big pewter mug, so there's no way your house is going to break this one.
Right. I hope not.
Like, your house tries to break a glass, and you're like, bam, try and break this.
Yeah. Try to break pewter, bitch.
So did you tell everybody all the history about Oktoberfest? And
I did not, because, they weren't actually having, like, a true Oktoberfest with a K. They were having
technically, it was Oktoberfestapalooza, wasn't it?
Right.
Well, they were having an Oktoberfest with a C.
Oh, man, they don't know what's up.
Yeah, so in true Oktoberfestapalooza fashion, though, they were celebrating with another brewery. So Tox Brewing out of New London and Little House Brewing out of Chester had the same Oktoberfest with the same decorations and had each other's beers on tap at each other's locations. So no matter where you went, you were drinking out of a similar mug from each brewery with their logo on it and drinking the same beer.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Was there a webcam set up between the two locations?
There was not.
This was a lunch party. No.
Yeah.
That's a big missed opportunity.
Yeah. The club's called Chat Room.
So anyways, the beer we had over there was Rare Candy. Unfortunately, I'm not drinking that on today's podcast. Stay tuned for another episode. Maybe I'll be bringing that beer on.
When you drank that beer, do you feel like you leveled up?
I felt like I had leveled up about 5 or 6 times while drinking that beer.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah. This week, I'm doing a little bit of a throwback to 2 episodes ago after I got back from Maine and talked about going to Maine Beer Company. And I am drinking the Black Barn Program No. 7 Fresh Hop IPA by Maine Beer Company.
That sounds tasty. And this is one that Chris featured. This was his White Whale beer dinner was from these guys too, right?
Correct.
That is correct.
With Maine Beer Company, they have a Black Barn Program beer. This is like their experimental beer. And the way they describe it is that their Black Barn Program is about being creative, learning, and challenging their team to brew the highest quality beer. Their beer goes through extensive lab testing and their robust sensory program in order to comply with their beliefs in quality over quantity. Black Barn beers are brewed on a 15-barrel brew house and will be available in bottles and draft exclusively in Maine Beer Company's tap room.
That sounds fancy. Now, wait, did you say they had a robust sensory program?
Yes.
So that's what I call it when I drink a bunch of beers. I put them through my robust sensory program.
part of me wondered the same thing. It was like, so they all just sit around and drink a lot of beer.
It was very robust. Welcome to Drink Alone with Friends. It's a robust sensory program where we put these beers through the ringer and really determine which ones are best here.
So the unique thing about this beer is that compared to Maine Beer Company's other traditional IPAs that use exclusively pelletized hops, Black Barn number 7 uses wet, which they call undried whole cone Simcoe hops that are sent directly from Yakima Chief Hops in Yakima, Washington. So right near you,
Nice.
Obert, on the west-ish coast.
Yeah. Yakima's big over here. And I want to discuss pellets versus fresh hops, wet hops, but let's hear maybe about how that beer is first, and then we can get into it.
So the last thing I will say is that the one cool thing about this too is these hops they are put into the beer within 24 hours of being harvested from Yakima. So basically, Yakima harvests them, puts them on a plane, ships them across the country, and Maine Beer Company instantaneously puts them into their beer for hopping.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I actually cracked open a lunch by Maine Beer Company today. One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, lunch is a hard one to beat. I love MBC. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
So this beer is really good. It tastes super fresh. It's very earthy, obviously, as what you would expect from a Simcoe hop. It just tastes fresh. I know that's not it's not a taste, I guess.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
because this time of year, you see those on the starting to pop up on the shelves as we get to the hop harvest time. You see those fresh hop IPAs all over, and it's hard to really put your finger on what makes it taste so fresh. But I think you get a lot of that hop aroma, maybe.
Yeah. Just it tastes a little bit more like fresh. I struggle to say fresh cut grass because it doesn't taste grassy, but it just tastes like you're eating like a fresh plant rather than something that's sat out and taken its time to develop its flavors.
So it's a solid beer. And
it's a very solid beer. I get a lot of melon flavor on it. But yeah, this is a great beer. I would give this probably a 4.25.
Oh wow,
it's coming. That's pretty high for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome. That makes me even more excited for the one I have in my fridge. Can't wait to eat a salad beer.
I would tell you guys to I know that you guys both have one of these beers coming to either in your fridge or coming to you. They say to drink them really fast. So
that'll be the first one I have then when I open the box.
So chug.
Yeah.
No, just don't let them sit in your fridge and age. Obviously, you'll lose that wet hop aroma and that wet hop flavor, and it will start to shift into something else completely different. Probably still good, but just different from what they wanted it to be.
Yeah. But yeah, so you're talking about the fresh hop beer real quick. I just wanted to say that one of the local breweries near me, Great Northern Brewing Company, every year they have a party where people can come and you can trade in your hops that you grow in your backyard or on your farm or whatever for a gift card for their beer. So they have a community hop beer. So you just take everybody's hop, whatever variety, dump them all together from all around town, basically, and use that to brew a fresh hop IPA.
Really?
And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not, it's not like an amazing award-winning beer or anything,
right? But
it's just like a cool community thing that they do. And somebody got like a $400 gift card this year, maybe 250. I don't remember. It was a lot of money that they had for traded in. And they put pictures on their Instagram of this like full-on hopper full of hops.
Does it make you want to grow hops on your deck?
If I had, I don't have good south-facing light. I don't have a great deck for hops, but I really do. They grow really well here. So
now what
maybe
if
in a future life?
What if I grew them in my backyard and shipped them to you, and then you ship me the gift card that I get with my winnings, or the beer that I get from the gift card from my winnings of selling the beer or selling the hops to them?
Well, I think you would win the record for the furthest hops away that make it into the community hop beer. But maybe next October we'll try it out.
Is it the community really and Tud?
Yeah, is it really community if it's coming from Connecticut?
I mean, community is more of a state of mind, I think, than anything else. But so with that, why don't we jump into the next beer review here? So I have a beer here. This is my last beer from a friend of the show, Jordan, who Chris had a beer of his last week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I did the beer opening on Instagram Live.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so this is a beer that he sent, because he sent one package to all three of the co-hosts in all three of our states here. And this is sadly my last beer that he sent over. They were all great. I can say that for sure. But what I'm drinking this week is the Dust Bowl Brewing Company's Cali Line Vanilla Blonde. Yeah. We don't bring a lot of blonde beers on this show. And I've never had a vanilla blonde before. So
you said it's Kelly Lime too?
Cali, Cali, like California. Cali Line.
I was going to ask what a Kelly Lime was, but
yeah. No, I don't.
I kind of understand what a Cali Lime is. So
no, it's a Line.
Oh,
yeah. Yes, I don't know what.
I'm completely thrown off by this beer.
Cali Line.
Cali Line Vanilla
Yeah.
Blonde. Okay.
Right.
I got it.
Well, no, I think. Thank you for clearing it up for our listeners too, because not the easiest to understand name here. But without further ado, I'm going to just jump right in.
I personally I like blondes.
Yeah, I'm there. It depends. They're really hit or miss for me, but
Yeah, they definitely have a time and a place, and I can see
right.
the time and place for this beer is right now for me. This comes in at 4.5% ABV. Pretty light. I get hardly any of those vanilla notes. It's not like a wham in your face vanilla, which is what you would expect out of a blonde, something a little more subdued flavor.
Mm.
This is a good thirst quenching, sitting down with the boys, recording a podcast beer. Very quaffable. You could just chug this, throw it back, and be ready for a few more. I don't know anything about Dust Bowl Brewing Company, but I would be interested to try more of their lineup for sure. For being someone who doesn't regularly reach for vanilla blondes, this one I think stands out in terms of most blondes that I've had. It's hard to go above and beyond in this category because they are such subtle flavors.
Mm.
And I think to make a good blonde, you almost want the absence of a lot of flavor. So with that all being said, I'm going to give this a solid 3.5. Like I said, middle of the road. It's a blonde. It's tasty. Yeah. It does the trick. It does a good job of doing its thing.
It's doing exactly what you expect a blonde to do.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I have one of those in my fridge. So
it reminds me a lot of the City Steam's. I think it's Blonde on Blonde.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. That's one from back in the ancestral home of Connecticut near Tud. We've had City Steam, I think, on the pod before. Or at least we've talked about them.
No, we had one beer.
Yeah. But, for anyone who's had that blonde, I think this compares pretty well.
Nice. Awesome.
That's good. I have one of those in my fridge, too. I look forward to drinking it now.
Yeah. I realized we didn't do the Untapped comparing on your beer or mine.
Ooh, that's true.
You're right. We did.
Yeah.
Hold on. Please hold. All right. Thank you for holding. So, Obert, I pulled up yours first. What do you think the Untapped universe thinks of your California line Vanilla Blonde?
I'm going to say they think it's a 3.66.
Ooh, very close. 3.63.
Oh,
so,
dang.
With 1,375 chickens.
So Obert, based on your guess, would you say that you are closer to a 3.75 than you are to a 3.5?
No, I just think that the Untapped universe likes it a little more than I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty much on the 3.5. But so getting back to your beer, Todd, the Black Barn Program number 7 from Maine Brewing Company, Maine Beer Company. Sorry, what do you think that the Untapped universe and their 285 check-ins think that this beer is rated?
Ooh, that's not a lot of check-ins.
No, one of them's yours.
Yeah, this means it switches violently between check-ins. I am going to say 4.22.
405.
Ooh.
It's a little lower.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You were high.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about that. I guess people just don't like. And it's funny to say people don't like. Maybe people just don't like dry hop or wet hop beers as much as I thought they would.
Yeah, maybe.
You also it's still above a 4, so it's not a bad rating.
Yeah, still good.
So, Chris, why don't you share your beer with us for what you got this week?
Oh, I'd love to. So I have a special treat here from our friends up in Connecticut, Sarah and Evan. This is my second ever Bissell Brothers beer. So
Ooh.
pretty excited about that.
I have those in my fridge too.
Ooh, yeah. I have the Nuclear Whim with the Fuse of a Mile. It's pretty cool looking.
Fancy name.
Yeah.
Fancy beer.
Very long name.
I don't know. Do they think they're burial or something?
Right? Burial with their long-ass names.
So Bissell Brothers is a really unique brewery. They have a restaurant built into their brewery, a taco place. So you can walk over and order tacos and get your tacos while you're waiting for the beer. Fun fact, all their beers are really long in name. So this is not out of the box.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean, Substance obviously is not a long name, but a lot of their beers are like a full-on like thought process and or sentence.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was reading the name and I was like, I hope I don't mess this up, but nailed it. 5 out of 5. So this is an IPA, New England style. Nice hazy, dark orange, juicy look to it. You can see it in the webcam.
That looks really tasty.
Looks amazing. Makes me want to go grab a Bissell Brothers beer.
The nose, I get a lot of like grapefruit on the nose, which is not something I normally get, I guess. But grapefruit with some other citrusy kind of fruits in there, but a lot of grapefruit. So we're gonna jump into this right now.
Wow. So obviously we pull up Untapped as we're doing this, and I just want to share something about this beer. Is it's made with South African hops. So I don't know if I've ever had a South African hop beer before. So Chris, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on what a South African hop beer tastes like.
Wow. It's really different. I mean, so I smell a lot of this grapefruit juice, citrus on the nose, right? A lot of tropical fruit smells. I get a little bit of that in the taste, like especially right up front. Then it hits you with kind of like a primarily grapefruit, and then it hits you with like a nice like bitterness, kind of like you're drinking like a grapefruit juice. So it kind of makes sense, I guess. But then, like towards the end, I get a little bit more of like the florally side of things. So I don't know. It's a really good beer, really solid beer.
It sounds really complex, fruity, bitter. It sounds like everything I like in a beer.
It's a really good beer. I like it a lot. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Also, another fun fact: this was released 4 days to the day after Substance was first ever tapped.
Oh, okay.
And Substance is their...
it is their like flagship beer.
Right. Yeah.
So this must have been one of their OGs.
Well, no, this one is a one-off, but Substance is their OG. This was just brewed for the anniversary of Substance.
Oh, gotcha. Very cool.
So, Chris, out of 6,095 check-ins...
Damn.
What do you think the Untapped universe has rated this beer?
Probably a 4 to 7.
So close. 4.23.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice.
One of these days, we'll get it.
It's going to happen.
We'll sound that alarm, that
yeah.
buzzers, that crazy celebratory sound effect that you all know what it sounds like. And when it's going to happen, you'll recognize.
Yeah, everybody knows that sound effect. But yeah, I figured it was going to get some hop hype from the name, Bissell Brothers and all that stuff. So, and I don't know. It's good beer. Very good beer. So.
It sounds like someone's aggressively going through some mail over there.
That's right. Yes. Time
Everyone
to get some of this mail.
knows what that sound means.
What is it?
A highly unorganized, apparently. Mailbag.
Yeah, the mailbag has got a lot of stuff going on.
I didn't like that letter.
That letter was from Blevin. So, we got a few in the mailbag this week. I was trying to reach out, trying to get more, but we got a few though. First is just a really funny one from wife of the pod, Dana. She titled it "Free Beer."
AKA how to get on the show.
Yeah, exactly. How to get on the show. And she says, "I really, really hope Obert's toiletgram happens."
That's
Me
two calls
too.
so far for Obert's toiletgram. Maybe I really got to pull the trigger here and see if I can make Obert's toiletgram happen.
I'm telling you, it's going to sweep the nation by storm.
Yeah.
It's the next viral content.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see.
It's like
a roll of toilet paper on its life journey.
It's like the Captain Andrew Luck, except your toilet paper.
Exactly.
Yeah, same thing.
I really feel like you're missing the ball here. Like we could have like shirts that have like your face in like the middle of a toilet paper roll.
There's no higher honor.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, to put my face on a toilet paper roll, I never thought I would make it that far in life.
We could sell special custom toilet paper with your name actually printed on it.
That's true. Or my face.
Hi, I'm Obert, and I only wipe my ass with my own name. Charmin Obertsoft.
I think we have to name that character, though.
Card.
That character that we have to call that Poobert.
Poobert? All right.
The name's still under R&D, but okay. Thank you, Dana, for writing in.
Poopbert. Okay. All right. So next question we have is definitely geared towards both of you, more so than me. Our friend of the pod, longtime listener, probably second-time emailer, Brandon, wrote in. He goes, "Hey guys!" Exclamation
Hello.
point. This seemed like a better spot to reach out than Instagram for this situation. I need to borrow some knowledge out of Obert's liquor cabinet. TM. I just started working at a local liquor store in Athens, Georgia, and we get a discount. Uh-oh. But the wife and I have been wanting to really kind of stock up at a home bar for a while. Right now, I generally make her last word cocktails with gin and maraschino liquor, and every now and then a vodka blackberry mule. Basically, what types of liquor do I need to start stockpiling so that we can make different cocktails? Any bitters suggestions? And what are all the essentials that everyone should have? Bloody Mary recipe? ? Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right. I like that question.
Yeah.
First things first. There's no such thing as getting an when you get a discount from a liquor store.
That's a good point. We're
going to start off this really strong. Best advice you're going to get.
I could see getting into trouble now, for sure.
You can get into trouble, but there's never such thing as an You
but you get into 15% less trouble. So
yeah, because it's half price.
No, I said 15, but he didn't disclose. I just guessed.
Yeah. So, all right. So where to begin here? Well, I guess I kind of want to take this line by line. And
all right, first line. Hey, guys.
Okay. Let me skip down a few lines to the second paragraph here when he says, right now, I generally make her last word cocktails with gin and maraschino liqueur.
Now, what does that mean?
So the last word is a classic maraschino liqueur cocktail. It's, like a Prohibition era, just a classic cocktail. Typically, so the recipe for last word is a dry gin, green chartreuse, the maraschino liqueur, and lime juice. If you like green chartreuse, this is definitely a drink for you. I've gone through a bottle of maraschino liqueur in my day, and it's honestly, it's not for me per se, because I know you're about to ask, what does maraschino liqueur taste like, right?
Probably cherries, right?
It doesn't. No. You would think that, but it's
that.
Put the maraschino. I think it's how they make the maraschino cherries. They age them in the maraschino liqueur, but the liqueur does not taste like cherries. It has kind of an artificial taste to me, which it just didn't really strike my palate all that well. But if you like making last words, I highly recommend an Aviation. That's a similar drink. What you're going to use it's again a gin and maraschino liqueur drink, and you're going to add lemon juice and cream de violet, which is more of a specialty liqueur that I've only ever seen used in one or two drinks. But the Aviation is a very good use for it. And if you already have the gin and the maraschino liqueur and you're looking for something else that you can make your wife, get the cream de violet. Start expanding your liquor cabinet there. I think that's a good one to go to. And then continuing on with the email, he says he makes a vodka blackberry mule for Brandon's wife. I think if you like mules, I would also recommend...
We're going to call her Brandina, by the way.
Okay. So, Brandina, I think she would like if she's a rum fan, a dark and stormy is always a good option. Again, it's like a mule, but instead of using vodka, you'll use a dark rum. You can't go wrong there, I don't think.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah. And, also anything you want to mix with ginger beer, I call it a Mexican mule, which isn't the official name, but I think it's a good name. When I do a tequila mule, this is pretty tasty as well. I haven't seen that too many places, but I like to do that with a Reposado tequila.
Now, would you do Reposado tequila, ginger beer, and maybe like jalapeno? Alcohol of some type?
Yeah, you know what you could do is a local bar near me, they take Saint Germain and they age it with red pepper flakes,
Ooh.
I believe. And I think they might also do one with habaneros. So Saint Germain, we had that, Chris, when you got engaged that night, that New Year's Eve. We had a bottle of Saint Germain.
Yes.
It's a really sweet liqueur, but the sweetness with the hot would really balance out well, I think, to what you're talking about, Todd. And yeah, add some lime juice to that, and bam, that'd be a really good cocktail. We should trademark that one. I like it already.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Drinking alone with friends is Mexican Mule.
Yeah.
So as far as standard liquor for a home bar.
Yeah, because that's his next line. I'll let you get right into that. But he asks, what type of liquor do I need to start stockpiling so that they can make different cocktails?
Yeah. So I would say, so from my standpoint, I'm more of the bourbon whiskey type of guy on the pod. I would stock a standard bourbon, whether it's a Jim Beam or a Woodford Reserve or maybe a Knob Creek. Maybe if you obviously if you go down the rabbit hole with bourbons a little bit, you can have a rye bourbon, so you can get like a Maker's Mark, and you can do a normal bourbon where you could grab like a Woodford Reserve or a Jim Beam. And then from a whiskey standpoint, I would grab probably like a Jack Daniels, because you can do like Jack and Cokes and that type of stuff. Just real simple drinks that you can make for anybody who comes over. If you wanted to stockpile a scotch, Johnny Walker Red is always a good mixer for, scotch and sodas. I think that's about it. I mean, with Jack Daniels, you can do like a Jack and Ginger as well. Jack and Ginger beer tastes similar to a Jack and Ginger with Jack and Ginger Ale. That's from my standpoint. And as far as, vodka, I would just say grab a handle of Tito's and just keep that there. Nobody's ever going to complain. Everybody's always going to be happy with Tito's.
I think that's good advice. And some piece of life advice that I've gotten along the way that kind of relates to this is, when you first start out buying tools, buy a bunch of cheap tools. And then when it breaks, replace it with a better one, because you've gotten your use out of it. You'll keep using it. You need a sturdy one.
Yeah, that means that you've used that tool enough to have to buy one.
Right. So my advice in that vein is don't go top shelf anything. Buy, middle shelf, lower middle shelf. $100 for a home bar will go a lot further if you buy a bunch of $20 bottles versus buying two $50 bottles. Buy middle of the road stuff, and then whatever bottles you finish first, that's what you like most, and then evaluate, maybe I want to step it up to the next higher quality.
Oh, that is really good advice.
I like that one. That's a good piece of advice right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, anything maybe 750 or 500 milliliter bottles, smaller bottles. Like I said, I like, Stoli is a pretty good affordable vodka. A Bombay or a Tanqueray is a pretty good, reasonable price everyday gin that you can use in most situations. I recommend a cheap silver or spiced rum. Either, Captain Morgan is good for either of those. Tequila, I would say anything that's the cheapest 100% agave tequila you can find, which Hornitos is pretty good for your option there.
Yeah, don't go crazy and buy like Don Julio or a really expensive bottle of Patron.
Right. Like I said, as long as it's 100% agave, start there. And
Brandon, not to dig further into this, but if you work for Total Wine, this is the perfect time to use.
Ted wants an email.
A, yes, I definitely want an email there. But B, if you work for Total Wine, Spirits Direct, this is the perfect time to go and raid the Spirits Direct department of your store. Get Spirits Direct of all of these beer or all of these liquors and stockpile those, because then then you're really saving money, because you're getting the 15% to 50% discount that we believe that you're getting. Plus, you're getting the Spirits Direct, so that's awesome too. And a lot of the Spirits Direct's really good.
Yeah, I think that's all good advice. And another thing that to kind of follow up on that is just start browsing cocktails. If you flip through a book, find something you like. And if you have 60% of the ingredients, go out, get maybe a small bottle of the stuff you need to make the rest of them. And just try starting out different cocktails. That's what I did. It starts off being kind of expensive for your, when you're like, oh, I just spent, $30 for this one ingredient for this drink. But if you get the right stuff that's versatile that you'll use in a lot of different recipes, quickly you'll be able to build on that and be able to have a high number of drinks you can make.
Yeah, and as far as like bitters and stuff go, I mean, you can just grab a bottle of bitters. I mean, most of the bitters I've had, I don't really taste the difference between, a citrus bitter and a normal bitter. I will say chocolate bitters do tend to taste a little bit different than normal bitters.
I think Angostura bitters are a pretty key ingredient to have in a home bar. It goes great with gin.
Vermouth.
Yeah. If we're talking about liqueurs or aperitifs, a vermouth is a good way to go. And remember, like we've talked about on the pod before, once you open that, don't forget to put it back in the fridge.
Yep. Caitlin's very angry that my quinquina now lives in the fridge.
You haven't gotten your aperitif fridge yet?
I have not gotten an aperitif fridge yet. Somebody was giving away a fridge the other day, and I honestly thought about
it. Oh, man, that's awesome.
No, I mean, and I am operating by saying get Tito's, I am operating under the assumption based on your email that you guys do enjoy vodka already. So, if you know that you like that liquor, don't follow Obert's advice and buy the cheap stuff. Buy the good bottle of the liquor that you want if you know that you like that liquor.
Right. I will push back and say, of all the liquors to go cheaper on, vodka is not one that I think the quality doesn't really improve once you start getting above middle of the road. I think anything above middle of the road vodka, it pretty much is all the same. It's just marketing at that point.
Agreed, and that's why I just choose to drink Tito's. Other than that, I mean, I specialty liquors, Obert, anything that they...
Well, they already mentioned that they have the maraschino. That'll go far in making a bunch of interesting cocktails. I would say if you're talking about anything real specific, my advice again is to find a cocktail you like that has that in it and then go about it that way. Don't just blindly buy bottles that you think look cool. Make sure you know what drink you're going to make it in first before you just start pulling stuff off the shelf.
That's a good thing to have. So his last point of his email is about Bloody Mary recipes. And I will say that my favorite Bloody Mary recipe is really simple. It's 2 shots of your favorite vodka, Zing Zang, which is just a Bloody Mary mix you can buy from pretty much anywhere up around here. I'm assuming you can get it down there too.
If not, Ted will send it to you.
So Zing Zang, a couple dashes of Tabasco sauce, because I feel like that mixes in really well with the tomatoes from the Zing Zang. And then I like to do like fresh bacon and stick that in there as like a mixture. And you can actually take bacon. I've seen it before. Take bacon and wrap it around celery and asparagus and cook that up so it gets like really crispy around it. And you can stick those in the drinks. Other than that, if you want to go cheaper, bacon bits right in there.
For when you were too hungover to make the bacon yourself. You already have the bacon bits ready to go.
Even cheaper than that, bacon strips.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's real bacon. That's the way to go. I like mine spicy, so I'll throw in different types of spices. I'll throw in Tabasco. I'll throw in red pepper flakes. Onion salt is really good too to add to that. My dad back when he was a drinker, he swore by clamato juice for his Bloody Marys, which adds a little bit of that fishiness. So if you like fish, clamato juice might be a way to go too.
And listen back to our episode where I had to drink a Caesar and taste my beers because I'm not a tomato person, nor a clam juice person.
Yeah, and it's not everybody's thing. It's not my thing either. But if you happen to be a fishy guy, have at it, man.
Right.
All right. Well, I think we thoroughly answered Brandon's email here.
Yeah, I think so.
Hopefully that helps. Anybody else who's looking to start a bar there?
Yeah, and I'd like my discount to Total Wine now too for that.
Yeah,
assuming that's where he works. Yes. Podcast discount. Use DAWF at checkout.
Yeah.
So the last one we have is also another head scratcher. So Beer Selfie, which is beerselfie.com, which is a Instagram account that I've seen, and I think everybody's seen. I think we've been featured on them a few times. You can see these lovely bearded faces on there. But they sent out a Q&A a while ago. We were supposed to respond a while ago, but hey, it is what it is. Podcast biz, But they want to know what beers are on our Mount Rushmore of classic American craft beers.
That's a good question. You're right. That is a head scratcher for sure.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a loaded question.
Well, exactly. And I want to preface this for all our listeners. You all know we're a bunch of folks originally from New England. So when you hear our answers, keep that in mind.
So just off the top of my head, I mean, I would imagine that my Mount Rushmore of beers would have to be something like a Heady Topper, which is really the OG hazy style IPA, the Lost and Sip of Sunshine, which was my gateway entry, and really the next iteration of Heady Topper. Then something like probably like a Julius or a Green from Treehouse, and then something new. I don't really have a new one.
Maybe like a Turbo Love Shake.
Turbo Love Shake, something from Burial.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, they're relatively new.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'll give a shout out back to my beer that I drank last week on the podcast and put that on my Mount Rushmore as my fourth beer.
Yeah, well, I think an interesting premise part of this question is it's not just like, okay, hey, what are your top 4 beers? To me, when I hear what are the Mount Rushmore beers, I think of like the 4 iconic American presidents from different eras. You're going to have 4 iconic beers, maybe from different parts of the country, different styles, different eras. So I think like a George Washington beer is like what's like an OG, like the first good craft beer that kind of kicked off a craft beer revolution.
I like this approach better.
Yeah. I mean, you got to figure out what do you guys know who all the presidents are? I think I can name them off. We have Teddy Roosevelt,
Washington,
Abraham Lincoln, and the 4th guy,
That guy.
Is it
right?
It's
Jack Nicholson.
Who is it? Is it?
It's Thomas Jefferson.
Oh,
there you go.
I was going to say Grover Cleveland. Just as like some random dude.
Okay, George H.W. Bush, which is weird.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think back in like of the beers that you said, Ted, I think Heady Topper stays on personally. I don't know if it definitely it wasn't the OG, I know, but it's like
I think that was a game changer though.
At least in New England it was. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I think without Heady Topper, maybe half of the breweries in Connecticut might not be there in their current iteration. They might be still there, but they'd be different.
Right, exactly.
Not just half of the breweries in Connecticut, half of the breweries in the entire Northeast.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to say that that's the Abe Lincoln of the Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. Well, then if we're going to talk George Washington, maybe something like a Yingling would be good. Or you could see something like a Boston Lager, Samuel Adams, who was not on Mount Rushmore, but maybe should have been for his contributions to beer.
Maybe he should have been for this beer discussion.
Because he probably knew George Washington.
I would have to say that I think you have to. I want to put Boston Lager on there just because they are like the original like craft beer, but at the same time, isn't Yingling technically the original craft beer because they are the oldest brewery in the country?
Well,
yeah, I don't know if they're craft beer though.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is they're
not
oldest,
owned by anybody.
They're the oldest. Yeah, they're independent, but I don't know if they're craft. Like I think that's the distinction.
Yeah.
Because
I think there is a difference between the two.
Because I mean, you think about it, it's the oldest brewery in the country, and yet there still wasn't like a huge craft beer boom in like 1800 something. It was
there was.
No, there wasn't.
We discussed this.
Well, there's a lot of independent breweries. Yeah.
We just recently passed the all-time mark for most independent breweries since or from post-prohibition, as there was pre-prohibition. So there was a lot of breweries.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know we just hit that number. That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's really
that
cool.
doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to fact check you, but I might type it into Google because
you can. We talked about this on episode probably 38, somewhere around there.
I don't remember that. Maybe that was the Drinking Alone featuring Ted.
I feel like you guys need to pay attention to the things to the episodes that we have.
Yeah. No, I remember a lot of the episodes, but anyways.
So Ted, like that'd be saying like Schlitz was a craft beer, or like Milwaukee's Best was a craft beer. Just because they were independent breweries doesn't mean they're craft beer.
Right, but so I guess this comes down to your definition of craft brewery. Yingling is not owned by anybody. They are independent. They brew their own beer. They brew a different style of beer than Bud Light or any of the macro brews. They're not a Bud Light. They're not a Coors Light. They're not a Miller Light. They're not a Budweiser. They're not a Coors Banquet, and they're not a Miller. I mean, at what point in time are they a lager? I guess it depends on what type of beer.
Because Yingling's an ale, right?
Okay, so Yingling is an ale.
Yeah.
So,
or wait, is it a lager?
Well, I was going to say, at what point do they compare to Boston Lager, and all of a sudden that they're not a craft beer, Boston Lager and Sam Adams is bigger by volume than Yuengling. Yuengling you can't get nationwide, but Sam Adams you can. Like, you can get a Boston Adams. You get a Boston Lager in Montana. Can you buy a Yuengling in Montana?
No, you can't get Yuengling here. But I mean, it's like, okay, saying Rolling Rock is a craft beer because when they were made, they weren't owned by Budweiser. I mean, there's a lot of beer out there that wasn't, Budweiser and Coors. It's just like shitty beer like Red Dog or,
Right,
like
but Yuengling's not a shitty beer either.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I don't know.
I don't like it.
Anyway,
but...
we're so far down away from
we're
our original premise here of
all right, so let's settle this like men. Let's do a vote.
Let's do it. I mean, vote.
Yuengling or Boston Lager as George Washington.
I guess I would vote.
I will
Boston
give a vote for
Lager.
Yuengling.
I'm Boston Lager.
Okay. So the ayes have it. Boston Lager goes on the Mount Rushmore.
So the men win. So I want to just throw this out there, and Tud, you weren't necessarily incorrect, but I don't remember talking about it. So in 2016, the number of breweries operating in the United States topped the high of 4,131 set in 1873. So now there's more than 6,000. So
okay.
So I mean, it really was.
So it was recent,
more recent than I would have ever guessed.
And we talked about this. I don't remember the exact episode, but we did bring this up on the pod.
All right, let's vote like men. All right. Anyways, so we got Boston Lager as George Washington and Heady Topper for us New England hazy boys.
Yeah, I think West Coast. Also played a huge role in it, and I think when I think West Coast founding fathers of beer, I really think 2 or 3 names come to mind. One of them is Sierra Nevada for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Easily.
And I also think Anchor Steam is a good one.
That is one I did not think of, but that is one that probably should be the Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, as starting the beer revolution in the West Coast.
I think Anchor Steam's a good one. I will point this out just as a little like, and I have agreed to add Boston Lager as the George Washington, but Anchor Steam has been brewed since 1896 out of California. So it is.
Oh, damn.
It is for all intents and purposes a very long-standing beer as well. Something that we disagreed with Yuengling on. So my vote would be to go with Sierra Nevada because I feel like that is what influenced Heady Topper. Is it when Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, which changed the game, and Heady Topper, which changed the game again?
So
it's not even the same game they're playing,
right? Different games.
Well, I mean, I think think about this. Before Heady Topper,
it was all a running game.
Sierra Nevada was like their Pale Ale was, or their Torpedo was the thing,
right?
And their Pale Ale started it all. I mean, that beer is amazing. So I would put Sierra Nevada Pale Ale as the Thomas Jefferson on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think that's fair.
So did we hit all 4 then? Have we decided?
No, we don't have it. We did not pick a Teddy.
A Teddy Roosevelt.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so Teddy Roosevelt's the youngest president on Mount Rushmore. I think Teddy Roosevelt should then be the newest beer. Like what represents the next step in craft brewing to you guys? We have beers from the Northeast, we have beers from the West, maybe an up-and-coming North Carolina beer or something down southeast, maybe Cigar City. I don't know. What to you represents the future of craft beer?
Maybe
in
something
America?
like a, and I know you guys haven't had this, so it's kind of tough for me to sell you guys on this. But a Jester King type brewery out of Texas is something a little bit more unique. They do IPAs, but they don't do them. I don't know.
I was going to say, I see the future of craft beer being more of these either like milkshake type beers or the fruited sours or something like that. Like I think it's definitely taking a turn towards that because I was thinking like Southern Grist, but that's because I'm from originally from Tennessee.
The second originally from Tennessee,
or even like a 450 North, which I haven't had their stuff, but I know they're always highly coveted and they do like a lot of really awesome stuff. So I mean, honestly, I think that last one can be like whatever
Fox
beer
Farm?
you're drinking now. Like that's the last one.
I mean, Fox Farm's doing doing sours, but at the same time they're doing IPAs and they don't do milkshake though.
True. I don't know. That's just kind of what I see a lot of.
I mean, would Teddy Roosevelt be more like a treehouse, like a Julius, where it was like, the next evolution?
That's a good guess. Or not a guess, but I think that's a good one to put up there, because treehouse, I think, is going to be a line in the sand moment where 10, 20 years from now, treehouse is going to still be around, still doing their thing, and still be treehouse.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
they were the ones who basically took Hetty Topper's game to the next level and made it something entirely different, but entirely the same and unique to themselves. Right. It's a weird mishmash, and they will tell you that they were heavily influenced by The Alchemist.
Yeah,
and you could taste it too. So I think we figured it out then.
That's it.
We got our 4 beers. Again, we might be biased. Let us know. Email us in, or don't let us know if you're wrong, if you don't agree. Just you know what? Let us know by rating us 5 stars and then leaving in the review what you think the 4 would be, and then we'll read that on the show.
Right. Yeah, that's good. We'll read 5-star reviews on the show. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like that's good audio quality right there.
There you go.
Yeah. Listen to how much people love us.
Listen how great we is.
So I think it's time to put the mailbag away until next time.
Goodbye, Hedwig.
And close that up. Yep, there. Chris is.
It's all away now.
The mail pile back in the corner.
Shove it back over behind Tote Mountain.
Yeah. All right, so I think it's time, folks, for everybody's favorite segment, where we fill up our new Little House pewter mugs full of frosty wisdom with our 3 handles here. Freshly coming from Oktoberfest, we bring you life advice, tips, tricks, hacks, etc. I have one I'm really excited about. This is a birthday present that I'm bringing on the podcast here.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I know I texted you on the day as well, but...
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'm glad that I could bring this product on here because I finally got a chance to try it out.
It's also April 1st too, right?
That's my official Facebook birthday, for sure. But so this is the Sudsky shower beer holder. I don't know about you guys. I enjoy a nice shower beer. If it's Friday after work, I come home and go out and hit the clubs, as you typically do on a Friday evening. Gotta get
What kind of life do you live out in Montana where you're hitting the clubs?
Isn't that what everybody does on Friday?
A, what type of life do you live? B, what type of clubs are in Montana? Like, do people bring their cows?
No, it actually says on the front door, no cows allowed.
But how about their moose?
So, moose are okay. Moose can come in. Yeah, but they have to pay double cover.
Okay.
Because they got the 4 legs. Yeah.
Yeah. They do it by axle.
Yeah.
each set of hips you have, you must pay a cover.
Yeah. But, I really enjoy the shower I have in my condo. It's not a full tub, though. It just is like a stand-up shower with a glass door. So, unfortunately, not a lot of shelf space, which means not a lot of place to put my shower beer in. So I was happy to get this as a present. This sticks to any non-porous surface. It's just like a straight-up silicone back, and I guess the friction with the silicone. It says it's made with, quote, patented grip technology, revolutionary space-age drainage system. And I think the space age was back in the 60s, but I think we're in the information age here. But, I'm not going to knock them for trying here.
You just jogged my memory that you did not buy me a birthday gift. So I feel like you should just send me one of these in the mail. Like Amazon Prime it to me, right to my house.
Maybe I will. But the question is, do you have space in your shower for a beer, or do you need one of these as someplace to hold it?
No, much like you, I also have a standing only shower.
It's tough, right?
We have a separate jacuzzi tub, which is fantastic, but it is a separate standing shower with like glass doors, like the stupid sliders that like fall off the track and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so when you're getting home from work on Friday and you still want to make it out to happy hour before they stop those deals, you got to shower quickly and you got to pound that shower beer.
Yeah.
No time to be putting it on the ground and getting water in there and soap.
Right. What I usually do is I usually have to, take a shower with one hand, and it's not as efficient.
Right. Yeah. I hear you. How do you squeeze the bottle in? It's like you can't. Anyway.
I use a bar of soap. I don't know what type of bottle you're talking about.
For your hair.
Oh, just you take that shit and you turn it upside down and just squeeze it on top of the head and then rub it in with one hand.
Well, okay, so Ted has it figured out, but for those of you who would like some place to put your beer down in the shower, I highly recommend the Sudsky shower beer holder. It looks pretty cool. It sticks to, like I said, any non-porous surface like tile or glass. A glazed tile, that is. So we'll put a link to the show notes.
Does it stick to plastic?
Like a tub.
Yeah, like insert tub here.
Right. Yeah, it would stick to a tub.
Because mine is stand up. It's all plastic, but with no tub. It's very weird.
Oh, okay.
I have a seat in my shower though.
Oh, wait. So you can't put the beer on the seat?
You could, but it gets kind of wet because the water kind of falls on the seat and splashes.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
nobody wants to drink shower water.
Right, and then plus, when you're sitting down to shave your legs, where are you going to keep your beer then? Right.
Right. I mean, and they're awfully hairy by Friday.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what I have for my handle. I tested it out before going out this weekend. It was great. So with that, I'm going to hand this frosty mug over to Tud, the one and only, who's got that middle handle all ready to go.
Yeah, so my handle this week is going to be something, I don't know if a lot of other states do this, but Connecticut does, and I know that a majority of our listeners are Connecticut-based. So it's a home energy assessment through EnergizeCT.com. So whether you're an Eversource customer or not, you can go onto Energize CT and sign up to have somebody from them somebody from an actual reputable contractor company like ALO, for example, come out to your house and do a home energy assessment where they basically put a giant fan on your front door, turn it on, and make a 20-mile-an-hour wind tunnel in your house.
No way.
Yeah, and they go around and they feel for cracks in around window seals and where air is being drawn from in your house. And they make a note of where that is, and then they go around and they seal that for you. So they use caulk and putty and expanding spray foam,
chewing gum.
Yeah, whatever they can do to stop airflow. And so they have an assessment of what your house should be at as far as cubic feet per minute as far as airflow goes.
You mean when they turn this giant fan on, how much it's supposed to suck out?
Right. It's supposed to be really efficient. My house is supposed to be 1975. When they tested it, it was at 2800. They were able to get me down to 2100. So
the lower is the better.
The lower the better. That's less air.
So you had a pretty drafty house, is what you're saying. And now
my house is built in 1938, so it's pretty old. But they come out and they do that, and then they also replace all your light bulbs with energy efficient LED bulbs. So the idea is to lower your electricity bill to make your house more efficient. It costs $175 if you do natural gas. If you're running oil or electric heat, it's only $150. It is well worth it. They come in, they do an entire... It takes 6 hours to do, so make sure that you're taking a day off or working from home that day, and make sure that gets done. Another thing that they do, too, for people who have central air units is they will actually seal your ducts, and they'll take all the holes in your ducts, and they'll seal it up with this Elmer paste glue type stuff, and make sure that your house is super energy efficient. I think a lot of other states in the country do this as well. So
I think it's a federal program, so yeah.
Okay.
It's run by each state. Like you're saying, Energize CT is Connecticut's, but your state should have one of these programs.
Yeah. So nice. I recommend looking into that. If you've already done it in the past, you can only do it once, unfortunately. But I will say that we got more than our money's worth. The guy alone sprayed, $800 worth of expanding foam in our basement to seal in cracks in our, because we have a stone foundation, to seal in cracks in our stone foundation and stuff like that. So I recommend it. Probably one of the best $175 I've ever spent. All my lights are great. Go to Energize CT or Google it and find your own state's program and sign up for that. Because who wants to spend more money on electricity? Not this guy.
Those of you with old drafty houses who are listening to this, you know who you are. You know you've been putting this off. You just do it.
Right.
It's this time of year. The weather's getting colder, the days are getting shorter. Just get it done.
Yeah, AKA, we're going to call out listener to the pod, Nick. Nick, your house is old. Do this.
Yeah. So if you're a Nick or you know someone who is a Nick, you get it.
Call them out on a podcast, please.
Yeah.
And so with that, I'm going to hand the handle off to Chris. Bring us home, buddy.
All right. Last handle this week. So I'm going to put over a video game. It is a Switch game, and it's the remake of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Have you guys played this before?
I played it on my. Was this on Oh, what the hell's the name of that handheld?
Game Boy.
Yeah, that one.
This was a Game Boy game.
Game Boy
It was
Color.
a Game Boy game originally. Yes.
Game Boy Color.
Well, they made it. I think they remade it for Game Boy Color too.
I think it was Link's Awakening DX, if I do recall correctly.
Yeah, I believe you are right. Yes,
They had two colors, black and white, and not black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
I bought it a couple weeks ago, and I've been playing it on and off with my crazy work schedule. The good thing about it is I haven't played the game in probably 20 years or more, so I don't remember anything of it. And it's they did a really good job. The graphics are, I'm going to say, a little bit more cartoonish than even like your normal Zelda game would be or would look.
Kind of like Wind Waker.
Right, yeah, kind of like, maybe, yeah, like around same kind of, not the same exact design, but the same expectation, I guess. But it doesn't take away from the game. I will say, though, it's a lot harder than I remember it being. Like
Back in our pre-internet days. Right.
Yeah, there was, I don't know how I beat this as I don't know, however old I was, 9-year-old or 8-year-old or whenever it came out. Because there's definitely times where I'm like, where the hell am I supposed to go? And I actually have to like Google for hints because I'm like, and after I find out what it is, I'm like, I would have never found that. I'd just be on the same stage for forever. So, but really good game. From what I read, it's not a very long game. I think it's like, you beat it within 15 or 20 hours, but I don't care.
That's half a work week, buddy.
That's true. I don't know. I like Zelda and I don't care. I've played worse games with less replay value than that. So, if you're looking for a good Switch game and you like The Legend of Zelda, I would check out Link's Awakening. If you've never played it before, check it out for the first time. If you've played it before, check it out again.
# fun fact. Stay tuned to next week's episode when I review a video game as my.
Ooh. Links go to sleeping.
It's an interesting name for a game.
We'll get it because it was Link's Awakening.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
And so with that, we'd like to thank you all for listening, and we'd like to thank the breweries who provided today's beers. I am going to go first with the Black Barn Program No. 7 Fresh Hop IPA by Maine Beer Company.
I would like to thank Bissell Brothers for the nuclear whim with the fuse of a mile.
And I want to thank Dust Bowl Brewing Company for their California Line Vanilla Blonde, as provided by friend of the show, Jordan. Thank you.
Please follow us on all social medias at DAWF Podcast. # follow the email at dawfpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you're sending all those questions, all those thoughts, and all those comments to the email. Obviously, we read them live on the podcast as we did today. Make sure you guys are going to our Patreon and subscribing. We've actually put up 2 new episodes in the past 2 weeks on Patreon, so make sure you're going to look at that. All it costs is a minimum of $1. You can give us $1,000, you can give us $1 million, you can give us $1 billion a month if you want, but it only costs $1 if you just want to get all the exclusive content.
If you're going to give us $1 billion, just shoot us an email. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patreon doesn't need that kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before you do that, even $1 million, just email us. We'll figure that shit out.
I'll give you my Venmo information.
Now, if somebody actually wants to pay $25 to watch Chris drink a Bud Light Clamato, do that too, because that's perfect. Also, make sure you guys are clicking on our Amazon affiliate link. One quick note on last week's podcast, Obert gave you guys a little bit of direction on how to make sure you guys always have a direct link. Obert, can you give us another tutorial again on how to do that?
Yeah, because I kind of rushed it in there at the end, but I thought it was pretty handy because I've done this myself and it works out pretty good. Especially if you have an iPhone. I can't speak for the Android users out there. Maybe I could let Chris do that. But again, you're going to take your Amazon app that you always use to order your Amazon stuff. Delete that. Get that out of here. That's gone, right?
Yeah. Kick that shit to the curb.
Yeah. Click on our link. It's going to open in Safari. Go and then do the options and then do save on homepage. That's going to make a new website. And that's a new icon on your iPhone.
Hang on, for the phone illiterate people there, the options thing is the little square with the little up arrow. Click that, and then click make shortcut on homepage.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure the exact way to do it. Yeah, that's exactly how you do it. And now every time you think Amazon, you don't even have to think about our podcast. It just looks like an Amazon app. You can call it whatever you want. You call it Amazon, call it DAWF $. and use that for all your Amazon purchases and give us a little kickback with no extra cost to you or anybody. It's really just money for us. So why not?
All right. So with that, my name is Tud.
My name's Chris.
And I'm Obert. And remember, if you're drinking alone, do it with friends. Hey, Ted, have you seen The Joker?
I have. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I heard it was bad. The Joker's a bad movie. All right, that's what it is.
I thought you wanted to talk about it as Patreon exclusive.
I thought we were going to do that.
Oh, yeah.